Welcome to Her Lights, your home for women's sports coverage. I'm your host, Erin Foley, a stand-up comic, TV writer, and most important, an obsessed sports fan. I break down the best games, highlight the best stories, and interview the best from the world of women's sports. So put on your jerseys, stretch out your hammies, and let's do this. Hello, Herlighters. It's Erin Foley back in the booth talking women's sports. I am back on land. I am off the cruise ship of, actually it was a smaller one. It was like about 1,500 gay men in Erin Foley. But yes, big shout out and thank you to Atlantis Events for just another insane, ridiculous, fun cruise. We survived Hurricane Melissa. Apparently we took a right and instead of a left, and it all worked out for all of us. But yeah, super fun shows. Not a lot of women's sports watching until this weekend. I landed on Saturday night. I did catch the World Series, which there are some really good women's sports stories wrapped up in the World Series, and we will end with that. But yeah, trying to find coverage of any sporting event on a Caribbean cruise filled with gay men, very hard. But I managed to just binge a lot yesterday. So let's just jump right in, people. Just a quick update, WNBA, the league and players union agreed to a 30-day extension on the CBA talks, pushing negotiations into December. Okay, progress. I'm not panicking. Absolutely not panicking. 30 days. So let's get it together. Hopefully this deal matches the money that's coming in and the league's momentum, and we don't have a shutdown, because that would be the worst thing for it. So listen, I'm hopeful. 30-day extension. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Still sticking with basketball. Here we go. NCAA women's basketball season starts today, Monday, November 3rd. Just thrilled to get college b-ball back on the TV, back on the courts. And two big matchups I'm highlighting, or a couple matchups I'm going to highlight this week. Today, Duke Baylor, get into it. That's going to be already a tip-off, a great game. And then tomorrow night, Tuesday, we got UConn Louisville. UConn looking to repeat, and they've got a really good chance to do it. And Tennessee, NC State. That's Tuesday night. Later in the week, NC State also plays USC, so already a tough schedule if you're a fan of NC State. Anyway, as the season, it's day one here. So as the season progresses, every week, every couple of weeks, I'll be spotlighting more teams, more players, more feel-good stories. If you don't have a team, literally, again, like I always say, jump into any top 10, top 20 team, get into one, and you're just going to be absolutely delighted. Okay, on to soccer. I'm not going to cover too much of the U.S. women's national team. They rebounded, beat Portugal. I think Oliva Moultrie and Sam Coffey from the Portland Thorns single-handedly beat the Portugal team in the second game. And then we just crushed. We crushed New Zealand. Emma Sears, a hat trick. Listen, these are all just friendlies. Emma Hayes doing her thing with her magic, putting the 12-year-olds in, seeing what sticks. So just really another 3 friendlies of just really enjoyable, fun, interesting soccer of who's going to stand out, who's not. And I loved, of course, every minute of it. I watched the 2 games. Just yesterday I watched so much women's sports to try to get, covered. I watched half of those games. And then, of course, what we're shifting to right now, NWSL. It was decision day on Sunday. Now the playoffs, which will kick off this weekend. Let's get into that. The quarterfinals are settled this Friday, November 7th. We got Orlando Pride, the 4 seed, playing Seattle, the 5 seed. Now they played yesterday to a 1-1 tie. These teams are so evenly matched. It's going to be phenomenal soccer all weekend long. I'm going to have to go with Orlando just because they're playing at home, but that is an absolute toss-up. And I'm going to, of course, be watching every single game, because when you get to this level, the top 8 teams playing, every game is just going to be fantastic. Saturday, November 8th, Washington Spirit, the 2 seed, hosting Racing Louisville. If you remember from last week, I was all about Racing Louisville getting into the playoffs, so I watched that game. I toggled between the Louisville Bay FC game and my last, Angel City game of the year, and we'll get into both. But There was a real fun moment from the Louisville game, which I think you'll all appreciate if you saw it, if you didn't see it. Rookie Ella Haas notched her first ever NWSL goal early in the second half, propelling Louisville into the playoffs. I mean, she is a rookie and she scores her first goal of the season to get them into the playoffs. It was the look on her face. She was just, the team was just jumping up and down. And yeah, it was just like a really, really sweet, awesome moment. So congrats to Haas and Louisville. And the reason also I wanted to get in because if they didn't get in, they were facing the last 5 years. Let's put it this way. This is the 5 years in a row they came in ninth. So they missed the playoffs by one game 5 years in a row. So I wanted them to rip off the Band-Aid and get in. And now they're facing Washington at home. Good luck. Not sure if Rodman's going to be playing for the Washington Spirit. I hope she's back, but she's battling a knee sprain. I can't say I'm very hopeful for Louisville beating Washington, but just for Louisville to make the playoffs is huge. So good for them. And Sunday, two back-to-back games starting at 12:30 Eastern. We got Kansas City Current, the number one team, playing Gotham. Now, I never thought Gotham would slide down to 8. My buddy Jen and I were texting. She's a huge Gotham fan. And I was like, oh, I'd like to see Racing Louisville get into the playoffs. She's like, I wouldn't, because if Louisville gets in, they take the 7th seed and knocks back Gotham to 8. And who does Gotham play? The number one team in the league. Honestly, looking at all those teams, is if there's one team that is a total wild card this season that didn't play up to their potential, but when they do play up there to the potential, they could possibly become a huge upset, or whatever, have a huge upset. It could be Gotham. You could argue that. So do I think they're going to win? No, I think Kansas City's going to take it, but that game is going to be really, to me, that's like, I don't know, could be the game to watch. Following is Portland Thorns versus San Diego Wave. Portland 3 seed, San Diego Wave 6 seed. These teams, again, very evenly matched. I'm going to give it to Portland just because I'm just going to do some home field advantage, home field cooking. But all of them are going to be just, oh my God, the best soccer. From this weekend on, doesn't matter who your team is, or if you've never watched a soccer game in your life, just start watching. On that note, Temwa Chawinga of Kansas City, Golden Boot winner. This player, she's just absolutely incredible. Fans, she's only been in the NWSL for 2 seasons, and she's won the Golden Boot for 2 seasons in a row. I mean, that's how incredible. Last year, she set a single season scoring record with 20 goals. And this season, she wins, and she's been hurt, and she still managed to win the Golden Boot. First ever player to win back-to-back Golden Boots. Last one to do it was a three-peat. Sam Kerr, obviously, who is just, an icon of Australian women's soccer, and now she plays with Chelsea. I mean, she's just one of the best players of all time. She did 3 straight, 2017 to 2019. But who's stopping Chawinga? I don't know. And I don't know if anybody could stop her. So it would be huge for New York if her injury kept her out of the first round. I really hope not, just for the sake of just the game of soccer. But we shall see. So we'll keep our eye on the injuries. But happy watching, everybody. Happy soccer watching. It is going to be so much fun. Okay, these next couple of stories, as the NCAA basketball is kicking off again, watch the ice hockey, watch the field hockey, watch the volleyball, because November, December, you're going to get into championship games and playoffs and all of that, which we will cover. But our pro leagues now, we've got we're kind of looking ahead to some pro leagues. So we're looking ahead to our ice hockey pro league and our unrivaled in December for basketball. So right now I wanted to cover just some really feel good, awesome stories. India women's cricket. Okay, I know that's random for American fans, but one thing on my bucket list is I've always wanted to go to an Australia, in India, Pakistan, just to see a women's cricket match. Of course, it's like nerdy, fun bucket list stuff. But this story is really incredible because India captured their first ever women's cricket World Cup, defeating South Africa, who they India and South Africa were not supposed to be in the finals. They both had huge upset, beating other powerhouses like Australia, like England, and they get into the final. So the final in itself was already super feel good. But India was hosting the World Cup, okay? They defeated South Africa by 52 runs in front of a sold out crowd, 45,000 people in Mumbai. Super feel good. Okay, now that itself, again, huge. But there was a lot of, they had lost a couple matches earlier in the tournament, a lot of online harassment by gross men, like, Indian women shouldn't, they should be in the kitchen, go back to the kitchen, all this crap. You can't win it. You shouldn't be on the pitch. All of this. They wound up overcoming all of that. Okay. And winning their first ever World Cup. Here's the interesting backstory of this. And this is an incredible story of if you invest in women's sports, this can happen. 3 years ago, I just learned this. The Indian Cricket Board launched the Women's Premier League. They invested $572 million investment. I think that's US currency. So let's just say over $500 million, right? And they created this league, 5 teams. Okay. Now it is the world's second most valuable women's sports league behind the WNBA. Can you believe that? You, again, you invest in this league, it blows up, second most in the world. Okay. And what happens? You create a culture and experience and a league for these women to play in. What do? They win the World Cup. I mean, again, like you hear a lot of these stories in the U.S., but this is global. Pick a sport, pick a country. If you invest in the women, you will see. Listen, you will see the money flow in. You'll see the attendance. You will. It is just one of my favorite stories. It's more than cricket, it's cultural change, said Captain Hermanpreet Kaur. I apologize if I just destroyed your name, but congratulations to India World Cup cricket winners. I just love it. And I love the backstory. I love everything about it. We're going to keep going in the most feel good way. New York City Marathon was yesterday. Now, I have a personal connection to the New York City Marathon. I always say New York City Marathon are is the greatest day in New York of the year. I'm not talking about ball dropping in New York City, Times Square. Ugh. I'm talking about the spirit of New York City Marathon Day. Now, I also have a twin sister who's a runner. She's completed at least 3 New York City marathons, 2 or 3, I don't know. But anyway, before she even started running, because she's been a runner since birth, we would go out on the street when I lived in New York City for a long time, no matter what borough I was in. We go out and we cheer everybody. But it was obviously hugely impactful for me to cheer on my twin sister. And so many stories. We'd make, posters. We'd meet her. Okay, we're going to meet you on 100th and First Ave for the 19th mile. Then we'd run across the park. I wound up running with her a couple of times. I mean, a couple of miles, and then I wouldn't be able to walk the next day, and because she's a champion. Anyway, it's one of my favorite moments, sporting moments, days, is New York City Marathon. So just a personal connection to that. But 2 real feel-good stories. The winner, Kenyan Olympian Helen Obiri, shattered course record by over 2 minutes. That is just an incredible feat on its own. Just shattering a record by 2 minutes. If you know, like track and field and long distance riding, 5 seconds is an incredible, way to beat a record. But 2 minutes. Okay, she finished in 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 51 seconds to capture her second New York City Marathon title. Amazing. Amazing. Congratulations. Huge win. In my, whatever, I watch and listen to and clips of women's sports 24 hours a day. But I found this, and this was super, super cool. This was posted by Hannah Storm's husband. I think his name is David. Apologies if I got that wrong. Hannah Storm, obviously, just a huge hero of mine, just a pioneer in women's sports journalism, just sports journalism. Sideline reporter, desk report. Hannah Storm has done it all. She was covering, she's covering, I think, for probably ABC, the New York City Marathon, and her daughter ran in it. So her daughter Riley ran the New York City Marathon while she was covering the New York City Marathon. Super cute pictures of them together. I just thought, what a full circle moment for that family. Absolutely loved it. And the dad posted all kinds of photos. Super feel good. Loved it all. Okay, we're going to keep it going. Just a couple more awesome feel good story moments. Tennis, this is the last tournament this week, and you can watch all these matches on the tennis channel. You have to pay, but it's totally worth it. I think it's like $100 for the year or like $9 a month. So you can dip in and dip out of these tournaments if you want to. That's always an option. WTA Finals. This is the last WTA tournament of the year, and it's always super fun because it's always, I think it's like maybe top eight in the world. But there's like a round robin, so they play each other a couple of times, and you get the best of the best playing each other in a really cool format. It just started, so get in on this action. Upsets all weekend long. Pagula took down Goff. Goff's having some real trouble with the serve, so hopefully she gets back on track. And obviously, that's something she's going to be working on for the rest of the year, heading into Australia in January. Also, Elena Rabinica beat Swiatek. God, I love her name. But that's a six beating a two, but still, you usually pick Iga, but all kinds of upsets. Samalek, of course, rolled over Palolini. But yeah, best of the best. I love this tournament. I don't love that it's in Saudi Arabia, but everything else, super fun. So Tennis Channel all week long. Really fun style of play. They all play each other a couple times, and then, depending on your record, you get to the semis and finals. So Tennis Channel, check that out. Okay. We're going to wrap this up, the World Series. And if you listen to this podcast back in the day when it was called Sports Without Balls, we talk baseball all the time. I've come from just a huge baseball family. Parents are New Yorkers, dad, Brooklyn Dodgers, mom, or New York Giants. And then I was raised, well, pretty much by myself. I just decided I was going to be a Yankee fan because that's what was on TV. And they probably weren't happy with that, but they just jumped on the bandwagon and, watched the games with me. I played fantasy baseball for an incredibly long time. So, of course, I was watching the World Series all week and, kind of adopted the Dodgers because I live out in LA. But then every time I'd be watching the Blue Jays, and I love Toronto, and I have a lot of friends in Toronto, that team was super feel good. So I was honestly kind of torn just because the Dodgers had won it the year before. But then I'm like, LA's been through hell this year between, the fires and freaking ice in our city. Ugh. And just, I don't know, the entertainment industry, and real torn this whole time. Okay. So a couple of really cool moments that incorporated women's sports or just female icons into the World Series. I wanted to kind of end on this note. By the way, congratulations to the Dodgers. I mean, any of either team could have won it. They both had so many different chances, but I think one of the most incredible World Series I've ever watched in my entire life. Game 7 extra innings, game 3 18 innings. I mean, it was so incredible. But I want to give this shout out, Jessica Mendoza. Now, I covered her back in the day, and she does a ton of reporting for the College World Series on the softball side. She standout Stanford softball star, Olympic gold medalist in 2004, silver medalist in 2008, longtime ESPN MLB analyst, right? In 2020, she became the first woman to serve as a World Series game analyst on ESPN radio. She's covered for decades. And last night, or Saturday night, I got off the plane. I had like low battery. I was going home, and I put the game on the radio. I put ESPN radio on, and I listened to her call a couple of the innings of the game before I got home. And I had this moment. I was like, this is so amazing. Like, you have this woman just an incredible athlete. She covers softball as well, but like the first pioneer to do it, to cover a World Series. And she's been covering it for years, but it was just fun to have this moment where I was going home, listening to the World Series on the radio. I love listening to baseball on the radio and to hear her voice. So just a shout out, another congratulations to Jessica Mendoza, being such a pioneer and yeah, calling balls and strikes at the World Series. What an absolute dream. And then the last cross sport moment, again, I go in cheering for the Dodgers, of course, but Vlad Guerrero Jr., and I watched his dad play. Of course, because I've watched way too much baseball in my life. He walks into the stadium. I don't know if you saw this, but go online and see these photos. Vlad Guerrero walks into the stadium wearing a Marie-Philippe Poulin jersey. Did I nail that French? Yes, I did. Now, if you don't know her, she is a Canadian hockey legend. I mean, you could argue she's the best female hockey player of all time globally. Like in the history of women's ice hockey, you could absolutely argue she's the best of all time. She scored the gold medal winning goal in 3 Olympic finals. I know this because I was never cheering for her, because I'd be cheering for the US, and she is single-handedly broke my heart for decades. And is the only player ever, male or female, to score in 4 Olympic gold medal games. She's now, the cornerstone, the bedrock, the best player in the PWHL. She's the face of the Montreal Victoire. I just loved this moment so much. You've got, all eyes are on Guerrero. He is the MVP of the team, one of the best baseball players in the league. And he comes into the stadium repping women's sports, repping women's hockey. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to cheer for the Blue Jays. It was such an iconic moment. So now, am I a Blue Jays fan? Yeah, I'm a Blue Jays fan now. I'm a Guerrero Jr. fan. I just loved that moment. So go online and see, and just it was just iconic for him to walk into the stadium with a Poulin jersey on. I just loved it. I just thought it was so epically feel good. Okay, those are your marching orders. You're going to watch NWSL. We got the quarterfinals all weekend. We got tennis all week long on the tennis channel, besides all the other collegiate sports happening: ice hockey, field hockey, volleyball, soccer. My God, there's so much going on. And yeah, I'll just be back with more and more fantastic feel-good story moments and keep you updated on all the sports as I possibly can. That is our show. Fans, friends, family, have the best week of your life.